Coming up on the program is my friend, singer-songwriter, guitarist, musician, and produce manager, Mark Donham. Welcome to the program. My guest today is Mark Donham. He's a multi-instrumentalist, a guitarist, a saxophonist, a produce manager, an artist, a man who's done it all. In my view, he's a legend in the music community here. And before we talk to Mark, we're going to listen to him. So please welcome Mark Donham.
Hi, I'm Mark Donham. I live in South Pope County, Illinois, and I'm here to sing some songs and talk to Daniel. I really appreciate Daniel having me. And the first song is a song that I wrote for a group, I believe their name was Kaishona, and they came from Indonesia to the Lower Town Festival and spent several days in Paducah, and I got to meet them and hear them talk and hear them play. So I wrote this song for them. It's called Things to Talk About. Well, there's so many things that I want to say, and they all come up same time, same place. I get all jammed up and nothing comes out, but I still got a lot to say. Things to talk about, things to talk about, things to talk about. I got things to talk about, things to talk about, things to talk about. I got things to talk about. Well, would you like to have a cup of coffee or even a beer, just to have someone to lend an ear? And I will listen to you, I will hear you out, 'cause if you're like me, you got things to talk about, things to talk about, things to talk about. You got things to talk about, things to talk about, things to talk about. I bet you got things to talk about. Let's get together everywhere. There's so much we can share. Well, all around the world, well, people got something to say. From every corner, every night and day. And we need to give a big shout out, 'cause we all got things to talk about, things to talk about, things to talk about. We all got things to talk about, things to talk about, things to talk about. We all got things to talk about. All right. Okay, well, the next song that I've got on my handy list down there is a song that I primarily wrote with Eric Eichholz, who is the drummer for Lujitan and Highway 61, and he played with the Melungeons for a couple of years. And one day at a practice, he came up to me and he had grabbed an acoustic guitar and he goes, "Hey man, I got this riff. And I said, well, that sounds good. I really like it, but you come up with another part. And so the next week he came, and he had written some words, he had some ideas, and so we all sat down and kind of worked it out into a song. There was a couple other, Tom Thompson's son, Robin, and Tom's, whose house we go to, he was the founder of the Melungeons, and his son was there. And we were trying to figure out a first line, and and somebody said, "We need some words." And just at that moment, Robin was walking in the door, and he shouts out, "I got a lot of words!" And so that became the first line of the song, and then we wrote the song. And Tom was there, and we all sort of did it together. But Eric wrote almost all the lyrics, and I contributed a lot of the music and some of the lyrics, but the song is about, Eric was J.D. Wilkes' first drummer, and those guys went to high school together and were friends, and he and J.D. are still really close friends, and he wrote this song. He wrote the lyrics more or less in honor of J.D. Wilkes. Called The Trick. I got a lot of words, they're all up in me. I gotta get them out so everybody can see. Hitting the road, playing the shows in any town that will have me. Throwing the words, hoping they'll stick. Staying alive, now that's the trick. I got a cheap hotel, place to lay my head. It felt like a cell. I slept in the van instead. Hitting the road, playing the shows in any town that will have me. Throwing the words, hoping they'll stick. Staying alive, now that's the trick. Now that's the trick. Now that's the trick. That's the trick. I made it to the cloud so everybody can see. I'll say it right out loud. It feels good to be hitting the road, playing the shows in any town that will have me. Throwing the words, hoping they'll stick. Staying alive, now that's a trick. Playing the shows, hitting the road in any town that will have me. Throwing the words, hoping they'll stick. Staying alive, now that's the trick. That's the trick. That's the trick. That's the trick. So I've recorded since, I lost my wife to cancer, my wife of 40 years to cancer 9.5 years ago. And so I recorded an album called Taking It Day by Day at Time on the String. But I thought I would play the title songs to these albums. And so the first one is the title song to Dreams Are Never Gone. the street without a lot to eat, nowhere to run when the bullets fly. I'd really like to help, that's what I've always felt. I think music is a good try. So roll on, roll on. Time has a beat, roll on. Roll on, roll on. We'll meet before too long. Gonna sing a song. Dreams are never gone, never gone. How can you hate what you don't know? We need to take it slow to know where each other stands. Before it's too late, let's take all this hate and lay it gently in love's hands. So roll on, roll on. Time has a beat, roll on. Roll on, roll on. We'll meet before too long. Gonna sing a song, 'cause dreams are never gone, never gone. Well, I can only walk so far, not enough gas in the car, no way to be everywhere. I'm from the same place we all are, I'll see but never touch a star. But there's a song I wanna share. So roll on, roll on. Time has a beat, roll on. Roll on, roll on. We'll meet before too long. Gonna sing a song, 'cause dreams are never gone, never gone.
Welcome back. Welcome, Mark, to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's been a privilege. We've been talking about having you on, and we finally made it happen.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Yeah, I've known you for a long time. I was thinking about it before the show, and I guess the time that we first met was during an Earth Day concert in 2014, which was about 13 years ago, 12 years ago or so, for Carson Park. It was for GPS Recycling as part of the WKCTC recycling program. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was a fun time. Did you performed at that concert?
The
right?
Melungeons did.
You did not perform solo that
No,
time?
but I performed solo in two of those Earth Day concerts before that were held here on campus.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we get to some of your music, and we just heard from some of your music, I want to talk about, so you were raised in Southern Illinois. Talk to me about your upbringing and how you sort of fell in love with music.
Well, I grew up in a little town called New Baden, Illinois, which is about 30 miles east of St. Louis. And I graduated from high school in 1970. And really, I mean, I've always been interested in music. I remember being in school music things, operettas, and of course, now this was a very small town high school. I mean, when I graduated from high school in 1970, there were 64 in my class, and that was the biggest class in the history of the school.
I had 110 in mine, so 64 is quite small.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, some of the kids, I went from first grade all the way through high school. You probably, because 110 is not a very big school
it's like
either.
Livingston County. We had quite a few, yeah.
So
It was so. Was it in school that you first like picked up an instrument and started playing?
Yes. I mean, in 4th grade, everybody had a chance to get introduced to maybe the instruments and start taking band lessons. And I was led to, of course, at 4th grade, you don't know what you like and such, but I was led to be a clarinet player.
Wow, cool.
And so I learned clarinet but so I have an older brother who I think
I have talked to, Carrie.
Yeah, and so my grandmother, who lived in East St. Louis, she got my older brother a little acoustic guitar when I was about 10 years old. And so if he'd leave it laying on his bed or something, I'd sneak up to and so I just started, and we were getting chord charts and trying to learn chords. And of course, records were just starting to come out then. So, if you could get a little bit of money and buy a record, and then
or like
if you wanted
a record club,
try to learn a song, you would play the record and then try to play along with it. And then you'd have to stop the record player and put the needle back and play it again and play it again. And that's how, now you search, it's amazing.
You just Google it.
You go, you say, you get a song and you say, I want the lyrics and chords to, Painted Black by the Rolling Stones, and you type that in and you get 14,000 different arrangements of it. But that's not how it was back when I was a kid.
But guitar was not your first instrument. Now, you play a lot of different things, right? You've played clarinet, and as I said before the interview, that's a cool instrument because, like, I remember Pete Fountain, the famous clarinetist, who was just like a virtuoso of a musician.
Yeah, and Benny Goodman.
And anybody who ever questioned the coolness of the clarinet can look to either of them if they want to.
Yeah.
But what led you ultimately, I suppose, to the guitar, just picking it up and playing it like that?
When you're a kid, you think about being a star. You see, we were seeing the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and these bands. They would draw these huge crowds, and they were making all kinds of money and getting a lot of publicity, and that was very attractive to a young kid.
Yeah.
So you try to practice, and had dreams.
And did you play with your brother most of the time, or a lot?
We did. We had bands. After Carrie came from New York to Macomb, and we were living together, we got bands together, and we had several bands in Macomb, where Western Illinois University is. And one of the groups, the Dan Eilers and the Rainbow Ranch Boys, we opened for Steve Goodman.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that was one of the coolest gigs, because he took us out for dinner before the show and paid for all of our dinners, and we got to sit there and talk to him, So
you really felt like you were something at that point,
Kind of.
Yeah.
It was incentive.
Were bands like the Beatles and the Stones obvious influences for you growing up? Were those artists that
that and Dylan, Joni Mitchell. I love Joni Mitchell. And then Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Man, that Deja Vu album is so good.
Yeah.
It's one of my all-time favorites. And you were coming of age at a time where there was a whole bunch of change going on regionally and nationally, and music to go along with that too.
We went on our class went on a class trip after our senior trip, after we graduated, and we went, among other places, to New York City for a couple of days. And we had our planned things, but there was a couple times where there was like some free time, and me and one of my classmates, we went down to Greenwich Village and got tickets to see Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Young hadn't joined them at the Fillmore. and we were just out of high school. That was pretty exciting. And I bought a bootleg album of Crosby, Stills and Nash concert that I still have. That it's just a plain white cover, and a guy on the street was selling them for a couple bucks, and I bought one.
That's amazing. I'd love to hear that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
60s era is a big influence for me too. I mean, I love all that stuff. You mentioned Joni Mitchell, Sly and the Family Stone, Janis Joplin. You were privileged enough to have seen all those folks that I just mentioned, right?
Yes, that is true. We lived close enough to the St. Louis area that at that time during the summer for, I don't know how long it went on, I think more than a decade, there was a festival called the Mississippi River Festival that happened on campus at Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville. And it was close enough to St. Louis. Plus they had a great big tent with the stage, but then outside the tent, and they had seating, and that cost a little more, but outside the tent they had this hillside that gently sloped up, nice grass, and you could get in for $2. Mm-hmm. And they had all these big name acts, and we would go there. We could wrestle up to somebody to drive and $2 to get in.
Man, what a show that would have been, and for the price, people would fight for that these days.
Yeah, I mean so I consider that to be a privilege of my age and where I grew up, because I did get to see Janis Joplin, got to see Paul Butterfield Blues Band and Delaney and Bonnie and Friends and the Grateful Dead and Albert King, on and on and on. And so
that inspired you to play music yourself, and I want to talk about, so tell me about how you first got linked up in some of your bands that you played in over the years.
Well, I'll start. We moved here in 1980, and so it was probably about the mid-'80s, and we were going out. Believe it or not, there was a lot more live music in Paducah and the area back then. Lots more. There was like...
The Moxies were like...
There was like 7 or 8 clubs where you could go hear a band either 5 or 6 nights a week in Paducah. And the best of the clubs were busy every night. And there was the Blue Ribbon was a late night club, and that what used to be the Best Western, which is when you're coming over the overpass on the Beltline that goes over the railroad tracks, and there used to be a big on motels on both sides of the road, and each had bars. And the Best Western, the bar building is still there, the motel's not, but that place always had the best bands and always was full almost every night, and people would go out to dance, and it was a very mixed crowd. You had the plant workers, and you had doctors and lawyers, and they all liked to dance. And there really wasn't a lot of crackdown yet on like DUIs and the roadblocks and things like that came later, that really sort of had an impact on the music business.
Was it all kinds of different music too? So rock and roll, country?
No, it was predominantly country, but there was also some rock clubs.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so which ones? So did you play in some of those, I'm assuming?
I did. We would go out and hear bands, and I started meeting people, and eventually I got asked to join bands, and one thing led to another. But I played country for years.
No, I didn't know that. So country music was sort of what you played for a long time then?
Yes.
What drew you to that genre? Just that's what people wanted to hear, or that was something you were inspired by?
Maybe a little of both. You want to work.
You were going to get gigs with that for sure.
Yeah, but I really liked that music too.
Do you have any country artists that you really enjoy to listen to even now?
Oh yeah, I have a big country music collection. You know, I like to listen to Willie Nelson and Ray Price and Webb Pierce and
I've always been a fan of that outlaw country era, that bluesy,
Waylon
yeah,
Jennings.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's great music. And I especially really liked songs like, for example, Keys in the Mailbox or Hello Walls or songs like that had a walking bass and swing beat, you know, so it's kind of jazzy, but predominantly more like a straight blues type of progression, but in a country style. And that kind of music is just so much fun to play.
And it's fun to listen to.
Yeah, sure, and people two-step to it and stuff, you know, so.
And you actually were on some of the first music releases in a long time of local artists. Talk to me about Rhythm Women and Groove Daddies.
Well, the Rhythm Women and Groove Daddies, it was me and my late wife, Christy Hansen, and Craig Rhodes, who's he was a retired art teacher from Massac County and a well-known ceramics artist in the area, multi-talented person, and his wife, Charlene Brown, who's the office manager at McMurray and Livingston law firm. And we would get to, we're sort of neighbors. I mean, we measured once with the GPS and we're like 2.5 miles apart we live, but there's this great big chunk of like 7,000 acres of national forest between us that's considered a quote roadless area. And really there's not any roads that a regular car can drive down. And so you have to drive all the way around it. But we would get together on Sunday. We started getting together to have dinner on Sunday evenings, and we would play some music. And Charlene wasn't real experienced at the time. She was just starting to learn bass, but we would play these simple 3-chord, 2-chord songs, straight blues songs and she would pick up on it. And this went on for a couple of years, and it evolved into us writing some songs that were more simpler, and then we progressing into a little more complicated stuff. And we eventually got enough original material together that we had a friend who was sort of in your journalism genre, Gary Wolf from Carbondale, and he was the editorial page editor of the Southern Illinoisan for a while. Then he had a show. What was the name of his show? That was on PBS, on the SIU station.
Oh, so he had a television program similar to this one.
It was a documentary show where he would go out in the field and document stuff, and then it was more like a 60 Minutes type, but it wasn't so much interviews. It was more like one show would cover one subject. But anyway, he also was Glenn Pichard's campaign manager when Glenn defeated Terry Bruce in the Democratic primary, big upset for Congress when Glenn became the congressman. But he ended up moving to Nashville. He met a woman. They got married, and they had neighbors that had a recording studio. And we kind of jokingly said, "Well, we want to be Nashville recording artists," you know. And so we went down there and met the guy and really liked him. Gary and Janie put us up, and we spent 2 or 3 days down there recording the songs, and then I went back down a couple times while he was mixing, and we came up with this CD. And as far as I know, that was released in 2003, and there's 11 original songs on it and one traditional song, Shady Grove.
Yeah, I'll hold that up for the camera so folks can see it right
That's
there.
a real collector's item. There's not too many of them. I think there's only was 100 made in 2 different
Well,
pressings.
thank you for that. I appreciate that.
And then, so, but the cover, all the cover design and everything was done by Glenn Hall. You probably know Glenn,
I
right?
do, yeah.
Yeah.
And you played sax on this record?
On a few of the cuts, yes.
That's so cool. 'Cause I'm just as a sax player myself, every now and then, I'm always a fan of hearing it. So, like, I think it's great that you did.
The very first song, Bad Back Blues, has got a lot of a big sax part solo at the end, especially.
And I want to talk about some of your solo work too. So you had a couple of albums. You have Taken It Day by Day, which I'll hold up too. And then you have Dreams Are Never Gone. Can you walk me through those 2 records?
Well, Taking It Day by Day is I did with songs that I wrote in the time period sort of after Christy, my wife, passed away from cancer. And that was 9.5 years ago. And so I was writing a lot of songs, and I've always, from the first time I ever heard Josh Coffey play music, I knew he was exceptional, and that was when he was real young. As a matter of fact, I had him come with me to play at the Bluebird, like shortly, not that long after I met him, and he played with me and Carrie, and that was interesting. And so I knew that Josh had a studio. I didn't really know Jake Senior that well, but I contacted Josh, and I'm like, Josh, I'm really interested in recording these songs at your studio, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of some of the best musicians, I mean, like I said, Nathan sings on one song. Josh plays violin and mandolin, and my brother plays some keyboard. Phil Hudson plays keyboard on some cuts. Eric Eichholz plays drums. Dylan Carver, my friend Brian O'Hanlon from Nashville. The Melungeons did some background vocals. I mean, there's a lot of really good musicians, and I'm very, very proud. I mean, there's 15 original songs on that CD.
That had to have been a really emotional experience for you going through all that. I mean, I have no doubt, and it comes through in your performance too. Like your heart and soul's poured into it, and I think that's what makes it so good. Is it's so sincere.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about too, before I forget, the Melungeons, which is a great band that I've had the privilege of seeing several times. How did you get linked up with them?
Well, Tom Thompson founded the Melungeons by taking his guitar to sing songs to his mom on Sunday afternoons at the nursing home in Golconda.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom and his wife Sandra, through Carol Brown, who at the time owned the mansion, the Riverview Mansion Hotel in Golconda, which was do you know about the?
I don't.
Anyway, it's an old mansion.
Yeah.
It's right on the river, and they have a bar and a restaurant, and it's not exactly the same it was when Carol was running it, but back in like the fall of 1980, we had heard about it, and Christy and I went there to eat, and we were vegetarians, and we ordered vegetarian food, and Carol, the owner, she came out from the kitchen. She was in the kitchen. She came out and she said, I just had to meet the new vegetarians. And so we developed a friendship, because Pope County, I mean, it's one of the least populated counties in the state. There's only like 4,000 people in the whole county, and at least 40% of the county is national forest.
Everybody's going to know everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And so this was a group of people. Well, Tom was the anchor of somebody who actually grew up there. But there was a group of people who had ended up around that became friends. And so Tom and Sandy and Christy and I, we became really close friends in probably 1981. And so they had started, so his family, some of his family members started coming to the nursing home with him.
Yeah.
And singing to Tom's mom, and they started learning enough songs that they played out some. But sometimes they would have parties, and we would get invited to parties, and they would play. And so they'd ask me to bring my guitar and sit in with them because there wasn't any, it was just fun. And then that's how we started playing together. I started going to practices, and then that's been a long time ago, like maybe 12 years.
And they're still playing, yeah.
Every Sunday we get together.
I know the Earth Day concert time that I was talking about. They did the Jack White covers from Blunderbuss that particular time.
Yes, Love
Interruption.
Yeah, Love Interruption. We still do that song.
I want to also talk about. You performing a song today, As Long as Stars Shine, which has an interesting story. It was featured in Prairie Home Companion for those NPR listeners that may be fans of the show. Talk about that song.
Well, it was a song I wrote for my wife, and we were big fans of Prairie Home Companion. We'd always have it on Saturday evenings, and so one week he announced, and it was all very last minute. It wasn't like they really built this up. It was like maybe a week or two before, and he just announced. He said we're doing a song contest for love songs on and we're going to do them on Valentine's Day, because Saturday ended up being on Valentine's Day. It was either 09 or 10. I'm thinking it was 2010. Mm-hmm. But so I had this recording of taking it As Long as the Stars Shine that I had done in the studio in Metropolis with just 2 acoustic guitars and vocals. Mm-hmm. And it was a real good quality recording. And so I sent it off. I went to, he had said, go to the webpage for details, and I sent it off, and lo and behold, I think they had like 4 songs of people who had sent in songs that the band, the Guys All-Star Shoe Band, mm-hmm. performed that night. And mine was one of them.
That's just so cool that you had the opportunity to have one of your songs played on there. And you told me that they called you and did a little interview thing, too.
They did at the beginning. They had me introduce the song, and so I said something like, I'm Mark Donham from Brookport, Illinois, and I wrote this song for my wife of 30-some years mm-hmm. at the time. Yeah,
it's just a cool experience to be able to have something like that.
And it was on the show.
Yeah, it reached the national
My
stage.
voice was actually on Prairie Home Companion, which, it tickles me now.
I'm trying to look up, try to find a clip of that.
It used to be, it was almost, gosh, if I can remember, I haven't listened to it for a while, but it would be either 2009, 2010 when Valentine's Day fell on a Saturday, mm-hmm. and it's about an hour in, I think.
Yeah. Well, we're about out of time, and I know we're going to get back to some more of your music, and we're going to hear that song today as well. And it's just been an absolute pleasure having you on. It means a lot to me that you're willing to do it and come on and play some music. It's awesome.
Well, thank you, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to get back to some more music from Mark Donham.
Capo on and do the other title song, Dreams, Taking It Day by Day. And this actually was the first song that I wrote after my wife died. And I work at a store, Midtown Market in Paducah, and I took a month off work, and And I just kind of tried to collect my thoughts for a little bit, and then I started writing songs and doing paintings, and this was the first one, and it was probably within about 2 weeks. Anyway, on the CD that I made of this, Nathan Lynn sings the second verse and sings harmony on it, and that was real special for me that he would do that. So dreams are never gone. Taking it day by day. I woke up and the news was bad. I almost wish I hadn't. It's enough to drive you mad. It's hard not to be sad. Then I think of me and you. Something I know is true, that I never would confuse. Hope that I never lose. Lay down at night, I always try to close my eyes and dream, but dreams don't ever stay. I lie awake in a moonquake, it's give or take, for goodness sake, I'm taking it day by day. So easy to feel alone, even with your smartphone, being followed by a drone. There's so much unknown. But love is where we need to go, taking it nice and slow, like being in the know, like playing in the snow. Lay down at night, I always try to close my eyes and dream, but dreams don't ever stay. I lie awake in a moonquake, it's give or take, for goodness sake, I'm taking it day by day. That's always a journey for me to sing that song. But I wanted to do it. So this song is a song, hopefully, I think y'all can relate to. It's, just about everybody's had a time when they're stuck doing something and they're like thinking, man, I got better things to do. So. They try to tell you don't believe your eyes. They try to tell you just believe their lies. They'll read your mind while you walk or drive, just to find out if you're still alive. I took the standardized test and I passed. I got the lowest score in my class. Social ladders I'll never climb. I got better things to do with my time. 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 Better things to do. Just me and you. I got a puppy and it grew real big. I thought it was a pot-bellied pig. I bought some pigs and a poke in my day. but not enough to make me change my way. I took the breathalyzer test and I passed. The cops were ready to lock up my ass. Walked away from the scene of the crime. I got better things to do with my time. 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 Better things to do. Just me and you. I get my news on the run. I don't really want to hold a gun. You know I might like to vote for you if I can figure out what you do. I took my driver's test and I passed. I paid my bill and I got out of there fast. 45 minutes I stood in line. I got better things to do with my time. 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 Better things to do. Just me and you. Isn't that true? Have better things to do. I bet there's people that have stood in line 45 minutes to get their driver's license renewed. Of course, I never have. Ha ha. Okay. This song is it's for people who maybe their relationship, something happens, but they still want to stay together, so they work at it and they try to put it back together. Sometimes life trips you up, take a wrong turn, end up lost. Forget faces of friends, places you've been, bridges you've crossed. Somehow you find your way back to a place where you see there's still time to get there. We'll make it easily. Almost broken dreams, but we're putting it back together. Almost broken hearts, but we're putting it back together. Yes, we're putting it back together. Sometimes circles go around, always end up at the start. Loose talk, night times will stalk, sleepwalk down deep in your heart. Long roads, heavy loads, take a toll, go with the flow. Life goes on, but sometimes it seems way out of control. Almost broken dreams, but we're putting it back together. Almost broken hearts, but we're putting it back together. Yes, we're putting it back together. Almost broken dreams, but we're putting it back together. Almost broken hearts, but we're putting it back together. Yes, we're putting it back together. Okay, here's a song called Everybody's Wondering. Everybody what's gonna happen tomorrow. Ain't that right? Everybody's wondering what's gonna happen tomorrow. Gonna live through it. Will they say we blew it? Are we gonna live through it? Or will we ruin it? We gonna live through it, saying we never knew it. We gonna live through it, or just screw it, or maybe do it. I'm wondering. Yes, 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 I'm wondering. Everybody's wondering, are we gonna live to see the sunshine? I'm wondering, I don't know about y'all. Everybody's wondering, is it only you got yours and I got mine? We gonna live through it, or will we ruin it? We gonna live through it, saying we never knew it. We gonna live through it, or will they say we blew it? We gonna live through it, maybe do it, or just screw it. I'm wondering. Yeah, yeah, I'm wondering. Whoa, wondering, I'm wondering, I'm wondering, I'm wondering, you know I'm wondering, wondering, wondering. All right. Okay, I'm going to do one more. And this is the song that, this is my songwriting pinnacle, which is that this song was played by the Guys All-Star Shoe Band on Prairie Home Companion. And that was a big thrill for me. And I heard from friends I had heard from all over the country when that happened. That was real special. And then it also is the same song when I auditioned to play the Sunday night show at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. I used the same song. Of course, you only got 1 minute. You got one chorus, one verse and one chorus of one song. That was your audition. But anyway, I couldn't believe they actually let me come. But I did, and I played there a bunch of times over the years. But this is the song, and it's called As Long as the Stars Shine. You're the best girl, your angel sent. You're more than a lover, you're more than a friend. And I'm a better man knowing you're mine. And I'm gonna love you as long as the stars shine. As long as the stars shine at night. As long as the sun comes out each day. As long as the robins come in spring. As long as the mockingbird sings. As long as there's clear mountain streams. As long as a child sits and dreams. Well, it lasts a love so fine. As long as the stars shine. We'll be together until the end. 'Cause you're more than a lover, you're more than a friend. And it's so plain to see we'll make it through this time. And I'm gonna love as long as the stars shine. As long as the stars shine at night, as long as the sun comes out each day, as long as the robins come in spring, as long as the mockingbird sings, as long as there's clear mountain streams, as long as a child sits and dreams, it lasts a love so fine, as long as the stars shine. Well, it lasts a love so fine, as long as the stars shine.
And we're back. Thanks, Mark, for coming on the show. You're welcome to come back anytime you want. Play whatever you want.
Oh, thank you. It was an honor to be on your show. You've had so many amazing artists and musicians and community people on here that I feel sort of unworthy and honored to be here. So thank you.
Not unworthy in the slightest. We're unworthy for you. You're an awesome and talented guy, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thanks.
That was my guest, Mark Donham. Thanks for watching. Join us next time.